Hello everybody, welcome back to Spirit Sports. I'm your host Evan, and today I have a special video lined up for you, but before we get into it, let's introduce you to the guy who made this video possible in the first place.
Alright, what's good, y'all? My name is Poncho, whatever you want to call me. My YouTube handle is at 2PapaPoncho. Check me out if you like, football, sports content. Many a gaming channel out there. Evan, obviously, thank you so much for having me.
Yep.
I think we just get right into it.
Alright. So we're going to kick this off with our thoughts on the Raiders and Lions seasons. And I think we start with the Raiders draft picks.
So obviously, round 1, pick 13, Brock Bowers. At the time, I wanted one of the corners that were going off the board. I was really insistent on that because I didn't think Jack Jones was going to be able to start on the outside. Obviously, losing a week also hurt us a bit, but Brock Bowers at 13 was very perplexing to me. Obviously, the pick has panned out really well, in my opinion. I think he's shown to be a really good tight end in this league. I personally think he's the best. I'll settle if people think he's like top 3, top 5. Yeah. Genuinely really good production. Obviously, then in the second round we had Jackson Powers-Johnson. I didn't understand the pick at the time because of Andre James. Because we saw Andre James. Andre James was still a solid center. But obviously, throughout the season, Andre James's weaknesses have shown that James is a little bit more of a weaker center, not really as much of a leader on that O-line that we needed him to be. JPJ stepped in right away. Even at left guard and at center, he was just physically the most dominant player on that O-line, right next to Colton Miller. And speaking of the O-line, Delmar, or I think in the beginning of the draft process, it was DJ Glaze. DJ Glaze believe he's our starting right tackle right now.
Yeah.
A phenomenal pick. Phenomenal pick. Genuinely phenomenal pick. I like what he's been able to do, especially, I believe it was the passing game for sure. Pass blocking, he's been really well for us. He's still very raw as just an O-line as a tackle. But obviously that's just more stuff that he can work on throughout his career, throughout the off season, and then also coming into next season, which is a very big thing. At the time for that pick, I thought it was a reach because I really wanted us to grab a corner. Like, genuinely, I really wanted us to grab a corner. DJ Tampa was still on the board. I was like, we don't need to focus too heavily on the O-line. Obviously, we did later on, but that's besides the point. But he worked out, genuinely. A lot of people, even like Raider beat writers and all that, considered him a reach, but he was good. He did what he'd had to do. The other draft picks, not really notable. The Cameron Richardson out of Mississippi State had to start some games because Jack Jones got injured, Nate Hobbs got injured. A lot of our starting corners just weren't getting out there. The Cameron showed that he has a lot to be desired in physical, really fast guy. He can keep up with the best, but the problem is that he doesn't have the technique to keep up with the best, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tommy Eichenberg, he's good. He just needs more time, but I think if we bring back Robert Spillane, he'll fit in that mold. He reminds me a lot of Robert Spillane in that sense. Dan Olave, solid return man. He needs time, though, to really develop his ability as a running back. I still remember the game vividly. I was listening to it because of the region locks, and I remember my jaw dropping. First play, Dylan Lave, handoff, fumbles the ball on the first carry of his career. It was so heartbreaking, but he just needs time.
His only career carry, he went for 4 yards, then just fumbled it, literally.
Yes. You did your research on that too. That's great. Trey Taylor and MJ Devonshire in the 7th round. Devonshire was on the practice squad. Trey Taylor, he just needs more time. Generally just needs more time, in my opinion.
Yeah, they both didn't record stats.
Yeah. Those guys just really need a lot more time. Uh, I'll hand the floor over to you now, buddy.
Okay, I'm gonna put in my 2 cents about the Raiders draft picks.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I thought Brock Bowers. I thought it was a good pick. I expected a slow year for how it is for most rookie tight ends,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
He became what I thought he was going to be eventually, but way better and way faster already.
Yeah,
I'm
genuinely surprised.
112 receptions for 1,194 yards and 5 touchdowns is.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're the offense.
Yeah. Then he also had 5 carries for 13 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is genuinely up there with Kittle and Laporta, as in good tight ends.
Yeah. If you don't want to say the best, obviously because he is a rookie, I understand. You know what I mean?
But he's definitely a top 3, if not top 2.
Mm-hmm.
For Jackson Powers Johnson, I don't remember how I thought of this pick initially, but it was an O-line pick, so I liked it. I didn't really have any expectations for it, and he only allowed 5 guys through all season.
Genuinely?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that much.
He only allowed 5 guys through.
Yeah, because the only downside with his game that I've noticed is that the positive is that he's a very physical guard / center. However, that leads to a lot of penalties, a lot of bad flags, a lot of unnecessary roughness penalties, and it's just the way he plays that the refs have to tell him to step in and be like, hey, you gotta calm it down a little bit.
Yeah, he may have only allowed 5 guys through, but he had 14 penalties.
Yeah, no, that's going to be cleaned up.
Yeah. And then 23 pressures as a rookie, that's not terrible.
No, especially for all the O-line in this draft class. Because obviously, what's it called? I remember Maniac wanted JPJ at center because he was the best pure center. But Barnes not bad. Barnes not a terrible center by any means. It's just, JPJ was still dealing with I think he was dealing with an injury. Might have been a concussion and something else with his arm or something like that.
Yeah.
Back in camp.
Glaze was worse than JPJ, which is what you'd expect from a 3rd-round lineman compared to 2nd round. He allowed 13 guys through and 51 pressures. But I think that is good for a rookie lineman in the 3rd round.
Yeah, no, you're not expecting much with DJ, honestly. I wasn't expecting much either, genuinely.
Yeah. Okay, I think now we can move on to the Lions draft picks.
Yeah, because the rest of the draft, they barely did anything, let's be honest.
Yeah. So, Terrion Arnold. I really liked the pick, especially us trading up to get him. So I knew it was going to be a good pick if the Lions had to trade up to get him. And I had really high expectations for him. He started off the season rough. He had at least 1 penalty every game for 5-6 games, but he got better with time. He only allowed I think this says I'm not sure what that says, but he didn't allow many receptions for long when he allowed receptions. He had 8 pass breakups, which I thought he had less than that, honestly. And he was pretty good all in all, considering his slow start to the year. Then the round 2 pick in Ennis Rakestraw, I thought it was a good pick. I had decently big expectations. He only played 46 snaps this year because he was out with injury, and time will really tell on him. In round 4, we got Giovanni Manu. He didn't play at all, but from what I've heard, he looks good. Sione Vaki, we got him in round 4 too. I thought it was a really good pick for depth, and maybe in the future he could do good. He didn't play much because he's behind Gibbs and Montgomery, but he was still good for when he did play. In round 6, we got Mekhi Wingo. He's a really good depth piece. He had to play, obviously, because all the injuries on Lions defense this year. And he did he did pretty good in his time he played, I think. And then Christian Mahogany, we got him in round 6, but he's playing like a round 2 draft pick, I feel like. He played 75 snaps. He only allowed 1 QB hit and 1 pressure, and he only had 1 penalty on the year, so he did really, really good. And that's all the picks we had this year.
Yeah. I think the big one that I really want to touch on is Terrion Arnold, because people that follow me or like know me know that Terrion Arnold was my draft crush for the Raiders. Genuinely, I really wanted him, but obviously, like, I felt better when like seeing like the little kinks in his game where he's a lot like that's the problem with like lighter corners too, is that you are gonna struggle in the NFL because everyone's bigger, faster, stronger than college kids.
Yeah.
But I love the way that he was able to really adapt and start really stepping up. I really wanted to see Ennis, though, this year. I really wanted to see Ennis. Like, more of Ennis, I should say.
Yeah. 46 snaps because of injury. He did decent in the time, but it's not enough to know.
I just wish I saw more, because I really like this kid coming out of Missouri.
Yeah.
Say kid, even though he's, like, almost my age. Anyways, no, I agree with Mahogany, by the way, dude.
Yeah.
He is a beast. He is such a beast.
I wouldn't say he's playing like a round 1 offensive line draft pick, because he didn't play all that much, but I think it's good. I think it's not a reach to say round 2 draft pick.
No, especially since there was a lot of really really good online and then some duds.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Now, I think we talk about how we thought the seasons were going to go compared to how they did go, starting with the Raiders.
My ceiling for them was 10-7. It hurts. It hurts to say that, because I thought Broncos are not going to put it all together with Bo Nix. I thought that Harbaugh was going to take a year to try to develop the Chargers a little bit better, try to develop a new identity. Chiefs, I was just generally going to be wrong about. Like, I knew they were going to be too good.
Yeah.
And then the floor, unfortunately, was supposed to be 8-9, because I saw our conference, but I thought we were still going to sweep the Broncos, split with the Chargers, and win a lot of these winnable games. But obviously, that wasn't going in our favor. So the reality was that we went 4-13, and then with the 6th pick in the NFL draft, in this upcoming NFL draft.
I had the Raiders going 6-11, but 3rd in the AFC West.
Who do you think was going to be worse?
What?
Who did you have at the last spot?
Last, I had Broncos.
Really?
Yeah, I did not think they were going to do good. I knew they had Bo Nix and like all the things they did in the offseason, but I really just thought they were going to be worse than the Raiders. Not significantly, but and the final standing for the Raiders was 4-13, 4th in the AFC West.
Yep.
Okay, now for the Lions, I thought they were gonna go 13-4. Honestly, not 15-2. They were first. I thought they were gonna go. I thought they were gonna get first in the NFC North. They did. I thought they were going to make it back to the NFC Championship game, and obviously that didn't happen. But instead, they got the first seed in the NFC, but they lost to the Commanders in the divisional round. What did you think about the Lions season?
Generally, I did have even higher expectations than you did. I thought they were only going to lose the 2 games that they actually did lose.
Really?
Yeah, no, genuinely, I thought they were gonna go all the way this year too. I thought, like, in all my predictions, like when I would do like my own brackets and all that, like they're gonna go to the Super Bowl, and then in the Super Bowl, that was gonna be like the deciding. Like, I was always 50-50 if I was like either they win it all or they just come up short, like by 1 game, basically, depending on the opponent, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna be second seed, 3rd seed, but still easily get by teams. And I thought they would have a couple divisional matchup losses, because that's just how they work.
Generally, though, do you think? Obviously, we're going to be a little bit off topic here, but do you think if you guys faced the Eagles, you would beat them?
Honestly, it depends on how our defense plays.
I think that's the big answer for the majority of the games, like the hypotheticals. Is like if you had another opponent,
Yes.
to deal with.
If our defense wasn't injured, like if everybody was healthy, we would crush the Eagles. I think, absolutely snap their back.
Mm-hmm.
But with our defense the way it was, I don't know if we would have gotten past the Eagles. I think our offense would have kept it close, but I think the Eagles may have won.
Mm-hmm.
And now, pros and cons going into next season, starting with the Raiders.
Oh boy, so I'm going to be transparent. I was making these notes during classes. Sorry, Mom. But I didn't really get much of a consensus because I can name it off the top of my head. But the big pros, though, obviously, it's the top three rookies we talked about. Obviously, we talked about Brock Bowers being really good.
Yeah.
JPJ being solid. DJ Glaze really coming into his own. But I think the big thing for us was just the defensive additions because of a lot of the injuries that we had. Obviously, we lost Wilkins really early on to a foot injury. Marcus Epps was like around mid-season, I want to say. Guys like that we lost. Obviously, Crosby back end of the year, but by the time that season was over. Obviously, we were also without Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So it was having more guys being able to step into the roles that we needed them to. Safety, obviously, Isaiah Palamau. I like him, and he is going to keep developing because he's still pretty young. But the problem is that he is very much a box safety. He needs to step up more as a everything safety, basically.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw more with also Trayvon Merrick trying to step in more into that kind of role too. However, it's a contract year. I can't really say if he's going to keep up if he's going to continue those things, basically.
Yeah.
His high level play and all that. Running back room was obviously hell on earth. So thank God that Alexander Madison was able to really show that he was RB1 for the Raiders over Zamir White. And then when he got hurt, we had to have help from Amir Abdullah, who in a lot of these later games show, like, I got flashes of, like, this great running back, and I'm just like, where has this been all season? Why couldn't we do this sooner?
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. No, I wish. Before I continue, do you want to give any comments to any of these guys?
Yeah, like for my pros for the Raiders, I didn't write this down, but the O-line I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't they getting better through the season? Your O-line?
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah, they're getting better through the season. Brock Bowers, obviously. You have the top 6 pick, and now Tom Brady is an owner of that franchise. So if he plays any role, I think it could get better for the Raiders.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's what he probably did with Spytek, bringing him in.
Yeah. I like my cons for the Raiders. Obviously the season was horrible.
Yes.
They have no more Devontae Adams, and Max Crosby is not getting any younger at this point.
Unfortunately.
He's still good. He's still top player in the league, but who knows for how much longer. He gets injured more than is good.
Yeah, no, he gets banged up a lot, and he tries to play through those injuries, which he did last season.
And then going on to the Lions, my pros going to next season. This season was the best season we've ever had. With our defense getting injured, we still had a lot of people step up, that were deep in the depth chart, and then they shined under pressure. Amik Robertson, he came out as a top cornerback in the league in the last little bit of the season. Muhammad on the D line came out to be really good, and there's still other players that were good despite how low they are on the depth chart. and then there's lots of talent everywhere, and it just keeps getting better. My cons going into next season, we have talented coaches everywhere that they're just going to get taken in the future. There's a lot of expiring contracts at the end of this season and the end of next season. Some of the talents are getting older. And then we had an injury bug this season, and who knows how that's going to work out like in next season.
Yeah, genuinely, the coaching thing is definitely what I would be scared as I cannot speak. I would be the most scared for that, basically, because when you're successful like that, they're going to start looking at the other coaches and be like, oh, now let's get you a job, basically. And we got to see how deep can Dan be to try to keep building a staff so that you can still have the same success, because that defense was so impressive for how injured everyone was. You didn't have like an X factor out there unless, obviously it was Hutch and then he got hurt, but it's like you didn't really have like a massive X factor that was like, okay, he's going to shut down this offense, basically. He's going to tell everyone like, hey,
the best players we had were our safeties after Hutch went out. They're good safeties, like top 5 safeties in my opinion, but there's not like a D-line, it's not like a D-line force.
Yeah, no, I still remember it's like when a guy like Nick Bosa came into the league when he played against the Raiders against Colton Miller. There was nothing that Colton Miller could have done in overtime to go against him, because he just went straight power, and that's how the game ended, because it was a really pressured pass onto him.
Yeah.
So just having that guy,
Yeah. I think with that, we move on to coaching changes.
Yep.
Okay. Starting with Pete Carroll, I think you should go first on this one.
Yeah, because obviously he's my coach now.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch his presser, obviously, because I was in classes. However, I know the guy only 3 losing seasons in his whole in the career of when he was with the Seahawks. Sorry, I butchered that a lot. My apologies, future Evan.
Yep.
Phenomenal defensive coach. I really do think he has really good defenses. I think he can really build that. However, the only thing that I'm really concerned about is that he ended his careers allowing the coordinators to really call the plays on both sides. He let his OC call the offense, obviously DC the defense. My big issue is that he hasn't made the greatest hires in that field. I trust him on the defensive side because I feel like he can really get somebody for that, but we need somebody to really help us out on offense, because obviously, Josh McDaniels, what's his face? Our old QB coach, Luke Getsy. We're just not great. We're not great play callers. Scott was a little bit better. I'll give my flowers to Scott. Okay.
With the availability, I think he was a fantastic hire with who was available. And that he's coached for 18 years in the NFL as a head coach. 170, 120, and 1 in the regular season. He's 11-11 in the playoffs. He's 1 for 2 in Super Bowls, and he made those Super Bowls in back-to-back years in 2013 and 2014. He's had 6 division championships in 97, 2010, 2013, 2014, 2016, and most recently 2020. In college, he was 97 and 19. If I counted it correctly, he had 6 Pac-10 championships, 4 Rose Bowl victories, 1 Orange Bowl victory, 1 Emerald Bowl victory, 1 national championship, and 1 vacated season. That if it wasn't vacated, it would have been a undefeated 13-0 season, a conference championship, Orange Bowl championship, and a national championship, and also the coaches and AP number 1 ranked team at the end of the year.
Also, just add in general too for what we have because formally in coaching we haven't had guys with experience, guys that know how to win. I think that's the big thing that Pete is going to give us. He knows how to win games. He knows how to plan games. He knows how to manage time and all that, which was the biggest flaws for guys like AP, McDaniels, because it was either, oh, this guy's too aggressive, or oh, this guy is too conservative in his play calling. Pete, I think, will give us the best chance to give us what we need, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a pretty good hire.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this is kind of off topic, but do you know why his season got vacated?
Don't tell me it was some rigging.
I don't know why it was vacated, but because I didn't look for it.
Okay.
But if anybody knows, please let me know.
Comment it down below.
Yeah, put it in the comments, and I'll keep that information handy.
Mm-hmm. Probably put a pin in there. Probably.
Yeah. And then next coach, how do you pronounce his name?
Brian Schottenheimer, I think.
Okay. I don't know if it's like a sh sound or what you said, but we're not Cowboys fans. We don't know. This is his first time being a head coach. He was an offensive coordinator 5 times, from 6 to 11 with the Jets, from 12 to 14 with the Rams. He was in 2015 with Georgia, from 18 to 20 with the Seahawks, then from 23 to 24 with the Cowboys, and now he's the Cowboys head coach.
I think the big thing with this hire is that we don't know what he's going to be, because with Pete Carroll, we know what kind of head coach he's going to be. With Brian, what's he going to do? Because not everyone can be built to be a leader among men.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to say, with the rest of this list too, with first year head coaches, that it's always going to be a risk, because you don't know if you're going to get their production like they were with one side of the ball, or if they're just going to be terrible on both sides, basically, or try to be a control freak. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing with that.
I think next we go to Aaron Glenn. So I think he was a great hire for the Jets, especially considering he played for them. He was the Lions DC since 2021 until he got hired by the Jets just whenever that happened a few days ago. He did amazing things with the defenses we had his whole time here. 2021 we had nobody. 2022 was a little better. 2023 was slightly better. And this year was supposed to be great with all the players we had, but they were really just not obliterated with injuries, and he still made it a respectable defense.
Well, you hit the nail on the coffin with this one. I think he's going to be good for the Jets. And the only thing that I'm going to say is that, do you know who's going to be his offensive play caller? That's the big thing.
I do not know that.
Okay, that's the big one, because that's been their biggest issue. They've always had really good defenses, even with Robert Saleh, but the problem was the offense couldn't get together, no matter how many superstars they even had on the team.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So he has to work cut out for him. That's what I'm trying to say.
All I know is I hope to God Aaron Rodgers isn't calling the plays for Aaron Glenn's sake.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, moving on to Mike Vrabel. Do you want to take this one first, or?
Yeah, I'll take Vrabel. I'll take Vrabel. Yeah, great defenses when he was a head coach, obviously, and I like his defensive mind. I like his defenses.
Yeah.
The biggest issue, though, that I have with him is just offense. Obviously, Josh McDaniels is going to be back as the OC for the Patriots, but how long has it been? It's been over a year and a half now since he's called plays. McDaniels is very vanilla with what he calls, but I can't say too much because he also made Mac Jones look really good.
Yeah.
And now they have a more advanced white quarterback for them. Obviously, this is, again, more of a wait and see, but I think the defense is going to be all right. I think offense is going to take some time, though, to really start getting it back together. What do you think?
For Vrabel, I think it was a very good hire. This is his second time being a head coach. Obviously, his first time was in his stint with the Tennessee Titans, and he had really good defenses there. In 2021, he was the coach of the year, and he's 54-45 in the regular season, 2-3 in the playoffs, with 2 division championships, and he has lost in all rounds of the playoffs besides the Super Bowl.
It's a weird career trajectory for Mike Vrabel, and obviously last season, during the offseason, was a really weird time for him because obviously when he got fired, no one wanted to keep him on as a DC because there were reports that were saying that it was like him being physical because obviously he's a former defensive lineman, so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him to just get back on it. I'm really excited for the Patriots defense, what they're going to do. So, obviously, high draft pick. The sky's the limit for the Patriots right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And next, Robert Saleh.
Yeah, we just kind of talked about. I put him out there just because it's a big hire, and then also he just got hired by the Niners, which Niners got a good defensive coordinator back. Basically, I think the defense is going to be great still. Because he's always had the defensive mind, but he never had the offensive play callers right. That was the big issue.
Yeah. Liam Cohen. I don't know. I don't have much to say about him, besides just his coaching accomplishments that he had. He was a 5-time OC from 2016 to 2017 with Maine, in 21 and 23 with Kentucky, in 22 with the Rams, and in 24 with the Bucks. And he was a Citrus Bowl champion in 2022.
This is really like a nothing burger. Like Liam's the definition of like a nothing burger. It feels like because we still don't know.
Yeah, he has decent accomplishments, but we don't know anything about him.
We don't know how he's going to be as a full-time head coach because I got really worried about him becoming a head coach in like the last little stretch of the Bucks games where like they would have like some really bad losses, because I would look at the offense and I would be like, this is not Baker like doing this decision. This is Liam scheming it like this.
Yeah. Because
Liam calls the offense. So I was really worried about anybody really trying to hire him. And this just feels like obviously it was a desperation thing because they fired the Jaguars fired Bulky so that he can pick his own GM, giving him power, which I don't know if he's ready for that yet. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Now moving on to Ben Johnson.
Unfortunate.
I'm trying to convince myself otherwise, but it's a really good hire for the Bears. He was after being a coach in Detroit for 5 mostly successful years. In 2019 as an offensive quality control coach, 20 to 21 as a tight end coach. In 21, he was also the passing game coordinator, and 22 to 24 as the OC. I don't know how Ben's gonna do as a head coach, but if anything, his offense will probably be good.
The offense is going to be so much better. I think he's going to unlock more with Caleb. I love Ben Johnson's offenses because it feels like old school in a lot of the plays, but it also has a modern twist to the play calling, which makes it more unique and special, basically.
Yeah. Move on to our next subject. I didn't really put any notes for this. I don't know if you did, but it's just on how bad the refs were this year. Like, genuinely.
No, I didn't put any either. It's just genuinely so bad, though.
Yeah, like I didn't put in any examples because if you watch the NFL this season and really know about football and what calls are supposed to be, like even like watching a game or two, you can tell something was up. Like from the first week of the season all the way to the NFC Championship, all the way to the championship games, something was going on.
Always. And then, obviously, I'm not going to say rigging, it's just favoritism. They're going to favor other teams more than others, obviously. That happens in every sport.
Yeah.
Refs in general call some really horrible calls this year.
Yeah.
I still don't know what a crackback block is. Do you know what a crackback block is?
No. I've
I don't
seen.
know either, but they called it like one time against us on Jacoby, and I'm like, huh? What is that?
I
What is
don't-
that penalty?
Sometimes I don't even know like what constitutes for what, and like they call it. They call it sometimes. They don't call it other times, and they make it confusing. Sometimes I feel like it's on purpose that they make it confusing.
Yeah. I think we just go Super Bowl here,
Okay.
honestly.
I think you should go first on who you think's gonna win.
Who I think or who I want? That's the big question.
Let's go. If the refs are fair, who you think is gonna win? And
I still
then
think it's going to be the Chiefs.
yeah,
I still think it's going to be the Chiefs. No matter what.
we both want the Eagles to win because
Of course.
most people want the Eagles to win, and not because they like the Eagles, but because they don't want the Chiefs to three-peat. But I do agree with you. I do think the Chiefs realistically are gonna win, even
Yeah.
without favored calls. That's it for today's video. This was just a special edition of Spirit Sports. I'm your host, Evan, and any last words for the folks at home?
Make sure to subscribe. Check out my channel. It's going to be down in the description, or look up at Two Papa Poncho on YouTube. Obviously, thank you so much for having me. Obviously.
Yeah. We're gonna try to do this again after the Super Bowl, I think.
Mhm.
So be on the lookout for that if you like this one, or if you just like are watching all my videos for whatever reason. Yeah, that's it. Again, thank you guys so much for watching if I haven't said already. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed.